So good. Good morning, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Beautiful VS4-10 Phoenix in front of us. Probably my most used truck on the channel. You guys are very familiar with this beautiful rig. And arguably my favorite rig of all, which is why we use it so much. But I got some heartbreaking news. I may have ruined the truck. Boys, welcome to today's video. Today we are doing some much needed upgrades to this unit. She could perform better. She could perform a lot better, and I'm determined to make her perform a lot better. I'm determined to not let Brad beat me again tomorrow in the Friday Night Madness. I am determined to give it all I got and have some better traction, have some better angles, and just be better prepared, because you can look the part. Just because you look the part doesn't mean you are the part. So today what we're diving into is I am working on some weight transfer on the rig. I am working on some new lower shocks. These are 110mm RC4 Drive King shocks, and they may set the truck a little too high, I believe. It completely lets the axle flex and do all the good stuff it needs to do, but I feel like in me searching for that, going from the 80mm incision shocks that come factory on this to the 110mm King shocks, it got a little top heavy and kind of a little wonky. So here we have some beautiful G-made. I believe these are the RSD external reservoir shocks from them. I'm running 2 sets of their other shocks on both the sends. Phenomenal shocks, I absolutely love them. Super easy to put together, very good quality parts. They don't leak a bit, adjustable, and I just really like them. So I figured, why not give these shocks a try and go for it on the Vanquish here and kind of see what they do in like a off-roading environment, because the sends really just tow, and they're not that they don't get that hardcore views to off-road per se. Sometimes they do. The other side, we have some beautiful Mickey Thompson Baja Claws. We're going to mount those guys up on different wheels. The Super Swampers, I feel like, were just kind of hampering me. They're pretty narrow, really tall, and I feel like they didn't give me a good enough advantage over some obstacles, and they really only shined in mud. I struggled a lot on some rock terrain and just some other things. Beautiful tires. Probably going to put those on one of the Sens just because, Swampers on a Super Duty look pretty sick, so duh. Then we also have a rear ESC mount I designed and printed for this thing to kind of help get the ESC away from its last point. I'll show you why I had a metal bracket, silly Quaid. And then we have a beautiful receiver box. I'm going to put all my receiver stuff up front on the truck, waterproof it, because this truck has never really been 110% waterproof because I just never really sealed the box. So we're going to fix all that today, boys. Diving straight in. Everything I'm using today will be linked in the description below. All the QCRC products that I'm using on the truck are linked in the description below. If you want any of these things, feel free to check them out. So here for our fan mount, I wanted to make sure this ESC was mounted perfectly so I could get the scale look of a real fan on the back of the truck working all the time. And I really wanted to make sure it printed with no support and it was super easy to install and very durable. Leading onto my receiver box, I wanted to make sure it fit in all of the factory holes on the chassis. I didn't want you guys to have to drill any holes. I personally also did not want to drill any holes. I wanted it to be very sleek, smooth, tiny and compact, and fit all the receivers on the market today while looking great. So if we dive into why I made an ESC mount, if you look right here, I have a giant piece of metal that I bent, and it is very ghetto on the back of my Phoenix. It mounted my ESC, got it the angle I wanted, showed it through the body, and made it look very cool, but at the same time, it puts a lot of weight on the back of the truck, and I'm tired of it being ghetto. And with that being said, all of my wires are routed under my chassis to this little fuel cell back here. It's actually a great little cubby Vanquish added. I'm really happy with it. But all of my wires are shoved in through this box. I do have a little bit of silicone wrapped around here to help keep everything watertight, but it really just hampers having to run all of the wires to the back of the rig. So we're going to mount our ESC box right here and safely and securely, nicely and neatly, that was a lot of words right there, mount all of our stuff to the chassis. That's a rundown of what we're going to do, boys. We have a lot to install on this rig. We got a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to test, and a lot of new opportunities present in front of us. Let's dive right into it. Now, doing a heads-up comparison of these two tires side by side, you'll notice we are about the same diameter. I think the Baja Pro is a tenth of an inch smaller than the Super Swamper, but our width is phenomenal. We're both a 1.9 tire. Going sidewall to sidewall, tread pattern to tread pattern, we see how much significantly wider the Baja Pro is than the Super Swamper. It's a definite wider tire, has much bigger lugs. Hopefully this will give us a lot more traction on various surfaces other than just getting through mud. I feel like this is just going to be a better overall tire for the Vanquish. I'm not saying it's a better tire overall, but I just think for our needs right now of what we're looking for, it's going to be the better choice. Looking over the materials we have, got a bunch of plastic goodies, got our springs. They do seem a little stiff to me. We got all of our little O-rings, all of our little C-clips, shock shafts, bodies, all the little accessories, everything that we need to assemble these beautiful shocks. Okay, for our next step, it wants us to take our shock cartridge, this little silver piece, 2 edges on the side. You're gonna want that to go with the edge side facing down first. Make sure you get that in there just as they want it. I know these shocks are going to perform flawlessly. I did end up, because I know you're going to be curious, there is Sin F250 springs on this bad boy. That's why they look different, and they are awesome. I highly recommend those if you have some. If you don't, pick up some from A-Main. You can easily get them. Alright boys, now that we have the shocks on here with the different springs mounted up flawlessly, I mean, would you look at these things? They just look great. Like, these springs are super soft. They're going to perform great on these shocks. We already did a little bit of testing with the flex in them. Super easy to flex. They also look pretty good. The silver on here matches the links on the Vanquish, and I'm really liking the vibe of this whole thing. This really vibe is going great. Look at that meat on these tires, man. Now we're going to take a dive into our ESC mount right here. You have this guy laid out for you. We'll notice on him we have 4 screw holes. We have 2 right here on this side and 2 right here on this side to help mount this guy to the chassis. No drilling required. We're simply going to use these 4 holes and mount it to the truck. Now on this guy, you're going to take the ESC of your choice and mount him right here where my thumb is. You can mount him all the way to the front, to the back, left side, right side, or perfectly centered, whichever you'd prefer. This is perfectly big enough for all ESCs on the market. The Tiki ESCs, the Castle ESCs, all the Hobby Wing ESCs, and even, of course, the Holmes Hobbies ESCs, because those things are super tiny. Here you can see I have a Hobby Wing Easy Run Axe ESC mounted up to this guy. Just going to simply take some double-sided tape like I have, put it on there, and you're ready to go. This guy is solid. He's not going to come off here. And once we have this mounted up, you're going to route your wires accordingly, however you would like. I have mine kind of 90'd back up under here, and then they kind of tuck back here, and I have my plug for my battery zip tied right there conveniently, so my battery can just plug in. However you guys like to route your wires after you get your ESC sealed to this thing. Like I said, just some simple double-sided tape on here. That way it's easily removable, and then you can go ahead and put that together. I'm going to go ahead and notice our 4 screws are going to line up right here on the chassis. We have 2 screws over here, 2 screws over here, kind of give you a look from the back side. We have these 4 screws right here on the chassis from factory, kind of right where this Vanquish logo sits on the inside. Looking from the back of the truck at this fuel cell, you're going to take this guy, and it lines up perfectly with these holes, and you're going to use our supplied screws. We're going to locate our screw holes on the side of the ESC mount. They're going to be one right here, one right here. You're going to take your supplied 2.5 millimeter screws and go ahead and start this guy into here. And in the chassis, you can start the second one. Don't have to be super tight, you just need to snug them up. Kind of use the end of your nut driver there, and you're good to go. Go ahead and put the 2 in the other side, and you're mounted. After you have that on here, boys, this is what your ESC mount should look like. Solid on the truck. You could probably pick the whole, yep, you can pick the whole freaking truck up by that ESC mount. Super solid. 2 screws on this side, 2 screws on the other side, and you're ready to go. Kind of give you guys an idea of what this bad boy looks like mounted in the bed right here. Kind of looks like you have a radiator in the back of the truck. Super freaking cool. The fan's gonna actually work, make some noise, and it just, I think it looks sick. Sitting in there, fits perfectly in that little bay right there. May have to do some trimming depending on what ESC you're running, guys, but look how sick that looks. Boys, in all of the glory, here she is. Loaded up, new wheels, new tires, beautiful G-made RSD shocks on this bad boy. And the QCRC ESC mount. Look at that, look at that. The fan fits perfectly in the back of this truck. Guys, this thing looks phenomenal. I'm really happy with the way this truck's turning out. Gonna have to get a matching spare though. Look at that. Boys, I love this. I know you guys are gonna love this. Super freaking cool. Very scale. Looks like there's an actual fan and a radiator rear mounted in the truck, just as we intended. That is awesome. Boys, thank you for checking out today's video. I know you love this. I know it brought you a ton of value and some entertainment. I hope these shocks are gonna work for you boys. They work great for me. I'm dropping a link to everything in the description below. The springs I use, the shocks I use, the tires, the wheels, and the QCRC ESC mount, boys, because that thing is sick and I know you're gonna love it. It's gonna help transform your truck, give you some scale points there, give you a cool, sick way to mount your ESC, and also have a bonus of some scale realism on the back of the truck to give you guys some points at some local comps and everything. Boys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope everybody had a beautiful freaking new year, dude. I hope you had a great new year. I hope you had a beautiful Christmas. Got all of the RC stuff and then some that you wanted and you needed. Boys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, night, afternoon, whenever and however you boys are watching this video. I hope you're having a great time, and I thank you so much for checking it out. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. We have a new reveal for the new QCRC workshop, and boys, it is freaking sick. It is sick, boys. Can't wait to show you. Thank you guys for watching. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in the workshop.